They'll click, they'll go up 20 foot. They'll go over 30 foot. They'll go down 20 foot. They'll go over 30 foot. So because I went up 20, over 30, down 20, and over 30, that means that this is 20 by 30. Either interior or exterior. We might have done it wrong, but one way or another, they should be right. Well, interior is now 29 and 7/8, not 30. So maybe it was exterior. So we look at the exterior and we see the exterior is 30 foot, 11 and 1/8. So what was 30? Well, when the person started the wall tool, they didn't care about their location line. So it was just doing the center line. So I want to show for those that like precision, which I guess I'll just call this Zan mode, I'm going to want to draw it just accurately so that I don't have to deal with the garbage later as much. I'm going to start this wall tool. I'm going to do finish face interior because we know what our interior dimensions are of this building. I was told 53.6 to interior, 42.8 interior to interior. I don't know what the wall construction is. The finish could change. The finish could be demolished and removed. The studs can be updated in size. But we know that for the most part, unless we're wanting to change the footprint of the building, that this is the existing interior footprint of the building. So I'm going to start a wall tool. Doesn't really matter which wall it's going to be unless the client is very sure about what type they're going to be going with. Then I'm probably going to pick one of these. I'm just going to start this brick on wood stud. And because I know the interior dimensions, I'm going to go up to finish face interior because I know it's an interior dimension that I'm being given and it's the finish face that I'm going to be drawing to. Two easy ways to do this without doing it even my way is you can do 4 lines or you can do a rectangle. 53.6, 42.8. I'm going to click up here. I'm going to go over and I'm going to do a numerical move, which is where you pull your mouse in the direction that you want something to either move or draw to, and then you just type in what you want. And then I'm going to type in 53 space 6 because Revit assumes feet, but then if you put in a space, it'll assume the X value is inches, and I'm going to press enter, and then I go down 42.8. And then I can go over the 53.6. I could type it in, but since I'm going back, ending at the same location, you're going to see that this blue dotted line is going to come up, which those are called aligning lines. And also, if you look below the wall, you'll see a temporary dimension in blue telling me that it is indeed set to 53.6. So I'm going to go ahead and click there. And then for several reasons, but I'm just going to click anywhere. If you click anywhere on two items meeting, as long as Revit can calculate the way that they are going to meet, which it almost always can, it's always going to meet cleanly. So if I end the wall here, it's going to end it cleanly. If I had ended the wall past it, like this, that is drawing using the location lines. Because I've only drawn these 4 walls, I can confidently just select these items and kind of drag them more into the center of our default drawing space, which again, you don't have to be very driven on making sure it's in the center of. It's just helpful because then your building will be in front of your elevations, not being cut by them like a section. And you won't have to make as many adjustments later, but that's also avoidable if your building is too big for the original drawing space anyway. So we've got this drawn. That is drawing using the location line. The second way I wanted to show is doing the same thing but with a rectangle. I'm going to do this, and we have to zoom in enough where it's going to start giving us the 6 inches. 53.6, 42.8. Oh no, I'm not going to get the 8. So for Revit, when you're zoomed to a certain distance, it's going to snap to basically feet marks. And this, it's actually jumping 4-foot increments when I move this. As I zoom in, it lets me move in 6-inch increments. But if I move in enough to where it's going to show me inch increments, I'm not going to be able to see my dimensions. So I'm actually going to say that unless you're doing a smaller building, It wouldn't be very easy to use the rectangle for this, but the rectangle tool does work for the way that I draw this. So those are by the book ways to get the location line working for you, but I'm going to do it the way that I do it. So I'm just going to start the wall tool. I'm going to go to the rectangle tool, and I'm not going to look at the measurements. I'm just going to draw it about the same size. I do not care what size that was. Now I'm going to dimension it, because you're probably going to have to add dimensions eventually in your project anyway, so you might as well start doing it right now. Gross fractions, and interior to interior, and then the thing that makes Revit Revit, I'm just going to modify the walls using the dimensions. Left to right width interior is 53.6. In order to make this gross number turn into 53.6, we're going to have to move one of these outer walls. So one thing that you might have forgotten in the process of Revit is in most programs, you can select the dimension tool and then change the dimension tool to represent what you want. So the way things work in Revit, which again, this is not intuitive early on, it gets more intuitive, I promise, the more you use Revit, is you'll set your dimension after drawing your walls, and then you have to basically choose which of these walls are going to move to make that happen. Because right now, the width of this interior space is 67 foot and 7/8 of an inch. But we want this interior width to be 53.6. So it doesn't matter which of these walls you select more than likely, especially early on in the project. It really doesn't matter which one of them you select. You just need to pick one of them. And then you're going to see your dimension or your temporary dimension if it's going to the place which you want. If I select one of the walls and I go into the dimension string that I placed, which is going from interior to interior, you're going to see that it's blue. Blue means it can be modified. With one of the proper walls selected, I'm going to click on that dimension and I'm going to tell it what I want it to be. In this case, it's supposed to be 53 foot 6 inches. Since I have this wall selected, when I press enter, this wall is going to do whatever it has to do, move out or in, to make that original number turn into this number accurate, which in this case, it needed to be moved to the right about 10 feet, which is why we saw the wall move 10 feet to the right. Now we're going to do the same with the other one, the bottom or top wall. Right now it's 47 foot and 7/8 inches. So I'm just going to select one of those and I'm going to select that value. And it's supposed to be 42 foot 8. So I'm going to type in 42, 8. And because I had the top wall selected, it moved the top wall down to make it go from the original dimension to this new dimension. So that seemed tedious, but that is pretty much how I'm going to do things. I'm going to try and kind of show you in real time what that actually would look like. So I just did my measurements, or someone called it out to me. I'm going to start my wall tool. I'm going to pick the correct wall. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to say this goes to roof. Location line. Okay, someone told me that it was to the finish on the interior because I'm doing interior dimensions. Oh, we didn't use the tape on the outside of the house. We used lasers on the inside. I was given the dimension, but I don't care what it is. I know it's a square house, so I'm going to draw a shape. And then I'm going to start the dimension tool. I'm going to make sure wall faces is selected because I don't want it to fight me on picking the right spot. I'm going to get wall face to wall face. I'm going to get wall face to wall face. I'm going to look at the dimensions and they said 53.6 and 42.8. I feel like that is faster than me doing it the just draw by location line way that we did originally. Not necessarily even the rectangle. Before that, when I drew all 4 lines in the correct location, you could say here, if I just start and I do 53.6, 42.8, snap, snap. That was faster, but now you don't have dimensions. Did I have location line going just now? Did I draw that correctly? Did I type in the right numbers? Is there a way right now to verify that I drew those right ways? And if you're saying temporary dimensions, if I click on that, the temporary dimensions are of course by default going to wall center line, so we can't verify that. We could take these temporary dimensions and we could bring them on the inside of the walls, and then we can use that to verify, okay, 53'6". The last two things I'll go over is the project browser and then the client information.